Hello everybody and welcome back to my Let's Play of Star Trek 25th Anniversary. In the last video we were helping the Klingons track down a fugitive that they said is responsible for great acts of crime against the Empire. We beamed down to this planet and the renegade they were looking for called himself Quetzalcoatl, which was an ancient god in Aztec religion. And when he mentioned what the Aztecs did, basically with their violent crimes, he thought you were lying and transported us down into a pit, and we just gotta escape now. Now we need to find him and talk with him.
You are in a densely vegetated area. The overgrowth blocks your view in all directions. You are in a densely vegetated...
Don't say anything else.
Trees to the left of you. Trees to the right of you. Into the valley of trees raced the landing party.
Okay.
Feral red eyes glare out of the dark at you. Kirk is wondering what he said that made Quetzalcoatl so angry. Spock is examining the surrounding terrain for signs of danger. Anything else would be illogical. Lieutenant Strachey appears fascinated by the vines hanging from the trees. McCoy is filled with premonitions of injury and death. Why else would they have brought him along?
Maybe because he comes along on every mission.
Staying in this overgrown region could prove quite dangerous. I suggest we continue, Captain.
I feel like someone is watching us, Captain.
This jungle is sure lush, Jim.
Oops.
This jungle is sure lush, Jim. Speaking of lush, I could use a nice Saurian brandy about now.
He doesn't seem to be in a talkative mood right now.
Eyes brooding.
I am reading a life form to the west. It appears to be humanoid.
I am Tolokzak, priest of Quetzalcoatl. Only one who knows his ways may approach his holy ground.
He's a big fella.
Towering over your security officer, holding a great spear in his huge hand, the great warrior Tolokzak will let no one pass him.
Of course, he knows our security guard is first.
Your security officer looks at you for orders and perhaps inspiration. You are James Tiberius Kirk.
He gives us the same message a lot.
McCoy seems rather nervous. Spock looks small compared to the great warrior. Primitive lights illuminate this savage scene. You look but see nothing of note.
Okay, fine. See what McCoy says about him.
Well, either this Aztec is a real flesh and blood human being, or I'm going to be retired as soon as I get back to the Enterprise.
Oh, that's a human. Am I going to save right here?
Save new game.
Wanna try
Replace
something?
previous game.
All right, time for some action. Let me show you how we did it at the Academy. Captain, do you realize how big this guy is?
I don't know if that lowers my score, so I'll just be safe. But I want to see what happens on there.
Perhaps our host will be more reasonable now. I recommend trying to locate him, Captain.
Did you ever get the feeling that people don't like you?
He doesn't seem to be in a talkative mood right now.
Nice planet. I kind of like it.
I will not listen to your deceitful ways.
Now there's two ways you can actually take him out. One is by throwing the rock at him. But that lowers your score, of course. Another way is to show him self-sacrifice. What you do is you take the snake and...
The snake enjoys snacking on you.
I will not
Wait.
listen to your deceit.
Maybe not. Oh.
Indeed, you know the ways of Quetzalcoatl. But only a man of courage, one who will shed blood, will pass.
Okay, then I use it on myself.
Self-sacrifice is the noblest quality of humanity. You may go. Beware the monster in the water. You may have my knife to defend yourself.
Nice dagger.
You pick up the beautifully crafted knife. A beautifully crafted stone knife inlaid with Aztec patterns.
You could also have the security officer had the bite taken on him, but I think you get more points if you have Kirk do it. Start playing music.
Familiar glowing spheres light the path. You are in a dark forest. You can hear the flow of water to the northwest.
I'm reading a life form to the west, Captain.
That means up the road, pretty much.
Lieutenant Strachey smiles as he strolls down the path. Mr. Spock analyzes the surroundings. McCoy doesn't want to be bothered right now. James T. Kirk realizes that every step increases their danger. Below this rock is a large growth of mushrooms.
They have pretty big mushrooms on this planet. I wonder if they're edible. See if they can read it.
Trousakian mushrooms. Their spores are highly toxic and are released if they are disturbed.
Okay, guess not. What is this?
It vaguely resembles the Terran Spanish bayonet. The edges of the leaf are razor sharp and secrete a poisonous resin.
That would be useful in some ways.
Nothing happens. Nothing happens.
Oh, I can't take it.
Nothing happens.
Okay, well, gotta talk first.
You get no response. He doesn't seem to be in a talkative mood right now.
It's getting a little cool out here. Keep warm. I don't want a bunch of sick crewmen when we get back to the ship. If we ever do get back to the ship.
Does every planetside mission have this much adventure, Captain? Mind you, I can't say Mr. Quetzalcoatl is making a very good impression on me.
Fascinating. The trees are able to grow very close together in this forest, Captain.
How's that really fascinating? But, well. Ooh, there looks like there's something in there.
A pair of eyes are all that you can see of the rest of this creature. Most of it is hidden beneath the murky water. The log looks quite old but sturdy. The river water is too muddy to get an idea of its depth, or what may be beneath its surface. This plant has a rather thick stem and prickly leaves. There is a slow, muddy river blocking your path. A strong, thick log serves as a footbridge. The river is unmoving, and the heat and stillness are oppressive. Lieutenant Strachey is looking at the big creature in the water. Captain Kirk is looking at the big creature in the water. Dr. McCoy is looking at the big creature in the water. Mr. Spock is looking ahead to a cave opening on the other side of the log.
Everybody's looking at the big creature but Spock.
Jim, there's some kind of an...
Oops.
Jim, there's some kind of an aquatic creature down there.
It is some kind of mollusk. The river seems to be its home, and it is carnivorous, eating land and river-based forms of life. It appears that the leaves are slightly toxic. I would not recommend touching it for an extended amount of time, Captain.
No, I'm gonna save it here real
Save
quick.
new game. Replace previous.
I don't think it'll be any problem. Just to have our science officer,
I'll give it a try, Captain.
our security officer go out there. Okay, that was not very advisable. Since they said this is toxic, it might be a good idea to get a leaf here. And toss it at the creature.
It would appear that the plant secretes a chemical that is a natural repellent to the creature. It has retreated far downstream, Captain.
Oh, so now we could just cross the bridge like normal. Oh wait, forgot to talk with everyone.
Anyone for a campfire?
I recommend caution here, Captain.
He doesn't seem to be in a...
Kirk doesn't want to talk on this mission.
Reminds me of a planet I was stationed on once. The native girls were real friendly. Ensign Shu had his bachelor party there. Great time. You ever been to Omicron Draconis, Captain?
Doesn't even answer, security guard.
Stalactites descend from the ceiling.
I should warn you, the stalactites could collapse quite easily. Any sudden motion could cause large quantities of stalactites to fall on us.
Well, isn't this just great?
Doctor, I would point out that your voice could also trigger such a collapse.
Will you two stop arguing just once? Then, gentlemen, I would advise you to stop arguing. You know, some shore leave sounds pretty good right now.
That's not what he said there.
Will you two stop arguing just once? Then, gentlemen, I would advise you to stop arguing.
It would seem to be a prudent course of action, Captain, if Dr. McCoy would agree.
Darkness leading into the unknown. It is a large cluster of crystals. Darkness leading into the... Stalagmites rise from the floor of the cave. They appear to be ordinary rocks. Spock's tricorder might say otherwise. Lieutenant Strachey looks nervously at the stalactites hovering precariously above you. James Kirk remembers the last time he was in a cave and is glad that this one seems more peaceful. Spock is his usual stoic self. As usual, Dr. McCoy looks annoyed by the mission. He doesn't seem to be in a talkative mood right now.
As usual.
Reminds me of some spelunking I did on Hades 4. Ever do any climbing, Captain?
Have you ever made it up the face of Half Dome, Lieutenant?
Half Dome is the famous rock in Yosemite National Park, the one that Kirk climbs in the beginning of Star Trek V.
If we ever get back to Earth, 100 credits says I'll beat you.
Captains and security officers. They don't realize how fragile the human body can be.
Sure we do. That's the challenge.
I would suggest we continue on, Captain. It would not be logical to endanger ourselves by remaining here.
I've lost any appetite I may have had for squid, Jim.
What does Tricorder say about this?
This appears to be a formation of raw dilithium crystals, Captain. My tricorder indicates unusual energy patterns in this direction, Captain.
You will need something to pry it loose.
Getting some dilithium crystals might be a good idea.
You have one dilithium crystal in raw form. A dilithium crystal in raw form.
I don't remember what the purpose of that is, but I don't think it has one. But
I watched as you worked through the problems I set in your path. You are a valiant, intelligent species. Please sit down. We have much to discuss.
I've had it up to here with so-called superior beings terrorizing my crew because we're so primitive. Maybe you should see how primitive you are before you go around testing others. One thing first, if you're so peaceful, how come the Aztecs were so violent and aggressive? Yes, I guess we do. Go on. I've had it up to here. One thing first, if you're so peaceful, how come the Aztecs were so violent and aggressive?
I tried to teach them the concept of self-sacrifice. It would appear they did not completely understand my teachings. You are clearly not the liars I thought you to be. Were you telling me the truth about my disciples? That they became ruthless savages?
The Federation is not in the business of lying, mister. Absolutely. Your best intentions were changed by the imperfect humans that you left in charge after you departed. Such is the way of our race, I'm afraid. You messed up in a big way. Perhaps you should try following the Prime Directive. It changed our lives. The Federation... Absolutely.
This is the one I
Your
think
best
we
intentions were changed by the imperfect humans that you left in charge after you departed. Such is the way of our race, I'm afraid.
I sense truth in this. Perhaps this is what happened to my children on the Klingon world of Rakur, which would explain why they are searching for me. I have clearly abused the power that was given me long ago.
You show great wisdom, sir, but your statement implies that you wish to change your condition.
Indeed. If my mission of peace was overthrown, then I am no longer worthy of my power. Tell me, has your species made progress in the medical arts?
We're a technologically advanced starfaring race. What do you think? That we wouldn't have made progress in medicine?
Definitely not that one.
With Dr. McCoy, I sometimes wonder, but yes, I would say we have made considerable advances. Yes, why do you ask? With Dr. McCoy, I sometimes wonder, but yes, I would say we have made considerable advances.
Then I shall ask to make use of your advances. At the top of my spine is a gland not found in your species. This is the seat of my power. I wish you to remove it, thereby making me immortal.
Jim, I'll try, but the physiology is completely alien.
You've got to do it, Bones. If the Klingons realize he's no longer a threat to them, perhaps we can avoid a war. Scotty 5 to beam up.
Captain, 3 Klingon heavy battle cruisers have just entered the system.
Okay, that's not good.
Admiral Kenga is hailing us, sir.
Oh.
Federation Starship, this is Admiral Blick Kenga of the Clearton. You harbor a criminal who has caused the destruction of the entire population of Rakkor. We are not prepared to negotiate. You will proceed to Rakkor, where a court of Cleon justice will be convened. If you refuse, we shall destroy you.
Admiral Vlicht, the criminal of whom you speak, is in the middle of a very delicate medical procedure. He cannot be handed over to anyone at this time. I cannot believe Quetzalcoatl's mission to Rakur would cause the deaths of the entire planet. Since when do Klingons give orders to Federation officers, Admiral? I realize it's difficult for a Klingon, but don't be a fool. Admiral Vlicht, the criminal of whom you speak, is in the middle of a very delicate medical procedure. He cannot be handed over.
His attempt to corrupt the Empire with his philosophy led to the destruction of all life on Rakkor.
How could a philosophy of peace and non-violence cause the destruction of all life on Rakkor?
Rakkor has been governed by my family for generations, but even they were corrupted by him. It was a matter of honor that his lies had to be silenced, no matter what the cost.
Oh, so he annihilated everyone on the planet.
My God, you killed your own people just because they acquired a philosophy that you disagreed with? So you killed them, your own family. You were responsible for the deaths, not Quetzalcoatl. You murdered them. You're insane. Tell me, how much do your commanders know about what you did? Or do you need to kill Quetzalcoatl to hide your own deeds? My God, you killed your own... So you killed them,
this is the right
your own
choice.
family. You will...
It was that creature's fault. Had he not interfered in our affairs, the people of Rakor would be alive. Clearly, he is responsible.
Message from Starfleet Command.
I'll argue this with you later, Vliet.
Contact your superiors, Kirk. You may be surprised.
I have bad news, Captain. The Organians have ruled that Quetzalcoatl's interference in Klingon affairs renders him subject to Klingon law. You are to turn your prisoner over to them at Rakor. Klingon law will permit you to observe or aid in his defense. But be very careful, Jim. Starfleet out.
Captain, you cannot turn him over to those butchers. That would be murder.
Well, Scott, he got another line.
We have no choice, Scotty. I'm afraid Quetzalcoatl has a date with Klingon justice. Set course for Rakor, Mr. Chekhov. Captain's log. We have come to the ruined Klingon planet of Rakor to deliver our guest, the mythical entity Quetzalcoatl, to a Klingon court. Dr. McCoy, Mr. Spock, and Ensign Benny and I have been granted permission by the Organians to witness this trial, which I expect to be a travesty of any meaningful definition of justice.
I'm sorry, this video took a bit longer than I expected, so I'm gonna...
Spock, come with me. Mr. Scott, you have the con.
I want to get to the planet.
The prisoner and his witnesses will stand forth, so the trial may begin.
Okay, I'm gonna call Let's Play here. I went a little bit longer than I expected. I wasn't looking at my stopwatch, so...
Save new game.
I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.